my name is Hrvoje Jerkovic, which is very easy to pronounce, but only if you're local in Croatia, otherwise you will struggle. I work as core network director here in Free UK. Today I will talk about artificial intelligence opportunities and threats for telco providers, focusing on mobile part, but also on fixed one as well. Before I start, two things to mention. First of all, I am working for Free UK, so therefore I will not be able to discuss any confidential or any sensitive topics on this one. And second of all, I really hate PowerPoint, so I would really like to make this as interactive as possible, discuss and communicate on the topic rather than just running you through my slides. So just short introduction. Free UK, mobile operator here in United Kingdom. Few things that we are very proud of. So we are market leader on 5G. We have the biggest spectrum on 5G, and this is our strategic advance on the market. Another topic that I would like to emphasize is that our customers are using 2 times 2, so more than 2 times more data than average UK user, which might be a good thing or bad thing depending on perception. You know, a lot of heavy volume can impact our network, but I'm on the other side proud that we're handling this without any problems. And as you can see on the top right corner, a few actually prizes, awards that we got in recent year, which really proves that we are handling good job. But now to the topic. So what is AI? And when I was preparing for this session and several other sessions, it's really hard to explain what AI is, because you can find a lot of definitions across the internet, books, etc. Yeah, I'm also studying AI at Oxford University, so there is a lot of this, you know, interesting definitions, etc. I found the one which is actually found on the Google when you type AI in telecom in Google search engine, and this is what you get. And to be honest, you need AI to understand this definition because it's quite complex. But I'll tell you what's AI from my perspective. As you know, we not only telco as an industry, but complete IT, actually technology industry, started with some automations, like, I don't know, from the day one when first code was actually deployed, because every script or any part of software that helps you to run things faster can be called automation, of course. And what I would like to differentiate, and I'll explain it a little bit later, is this clear split between AI and automation. My personal opinion is that automation will give you something that you expect. So you have some inputs and you expect some outputs, you know, to be faster, better quality, reduce some manual work, etc. What I expect from AI is to give me some not very predicted results. When I say not very predicted, I mean not something that you know I expect as a result, but something more, something that I didn't have on my radar as a requester or whatever my position in that role is, and something that will give me different opportunities, different kind of view, etc. Now I'll jump immediately to use cases, because I think this is the most interesting topic, not only in telco industries, but across all technological industry. And I'll start with the first one, virtual assistant, chatbot. Let me share one experience from yesterday. So yesterday I had a quite interesting or challenging conversation with one of my water service provider here in Reading, and I had this, I don't know, ugly feeling that I'm in some hybrid mode. You know, sometimes I'm talking to a chatbot, sometimes I'm talking to a real person, because you can see, you know, some responses came immediately, like, you know, in real time. Some of them required some probably communication on human level, etc. Again, virtual assistants already deployed across complete telco industry. Why I mentioned them first? Because they are very, I would say, easy to develop, very easy to gain the experience from other industries. But what I really think is that all of them, or most of them that I faced, really have big place for improvement. Again, spread across all industries, not only telco industry. RPA, robotic process automation, similar like virtual assistant, we all have in legacy or modern industries, modern networks, we have a lot of those, I would say, well-known processes that are running, functionalities, etc. Nobody is touching them because they are working, so why should we touch them? But what I see here is a really huge opportunity to reduce the workload, to filter the workload, because during this process you can really conclude that there are some processes that are not relevant anymore, not needed, can be simplified, etc. Network optimization. Now I'm talking real telco topic. As you know, we are constantly trying to improve our network, make it better for customers, more usable, more reachable, better quality, higher speeds, lower latency, and all the KPI metrics that we are trying to improve across the network. There is a big constraint in telco industry. I mean, we're all aware of this energy crisis, Russia war, increased price of electricity, and in telco industry, OpEx plays quite significant role in total cost. So by simple increase of electricity, our actually financial situation becomes a little bit more challenging. Yeah, because we need to save that money somewhere, in order to make our financial picture better. So in legacy world, we have like teams that are doing the network optimization and checking each and every base station or region or whatever segment of the network, no matter if it's access, core, transport, etc., etc. Historically, if you look at this business in the last 20-25 years, mobile business in particular, we gained so many information from the network. On one side, we gain experience. On the other side, we made this transition from 2G to 3G, 4G, 5G, hopefully in the future 6G. On fixed line, we made this transition from copper to fiber. But what is this actually bringing us besides the better technology and better service for our customers is bringing us additional information. And we are collecting, harvesting a lot of those information. Basic thing for good AI logic implementation is actually amount of data and quality of data. Amount of data, I stated earlier, we've been collecting this data for quite long time. If you look back in history, you can find some really like archaic information, which might not be that valuable. But again, in order to make AI logic better, with better quality, better output, etc., you need to ingest as much as historic data as possible. Why? Because learning mode, the first actually phase of any AI logic, becomes much better and much more precise if you load bigger amount of data and of course the better quality of the data. Therefore, by this implementation of this logic, you can not only automate the network optimization part of the workload, but you can also have some predictions that are, as I stated on the first slide, not very predicted, where to optimize what's something that normally people, engineers don't have on their radar or are not sure about it. Predictive maintenance. I think this is the use case that is actually has the biggest value. And you can see a lot of vendors in telco industry, either like original legacy telco vendors or some IT vendors or even some lot of startups are actually doing this story. What they are doing, again, as I mentioned earlier on the network optimization, collecting the information from the network and with more or less success predicting when something will happen in the network. So if we start from basic things like, I don't know, electricity, power outages, or air conditioning on base stations, etc., it can provide really significant savings by predicting some outage issue, incident, whatever. But also it can it can also detect some anomalies in the network, which will potentially in the future create bigger incidents, crises, etc. So from financial point of view, from value point of view, I think these use cases are most attractive for any telco operators. Fraud prevention. Again, since the beginning of telco industry, we had potential and more or less successful fraud players in our network because it's very interesting business, very valuable. So therefore, by collecting all the data that I mentioned earlier, creating those AI algorithms, you can be more precise, more effective in this fraud prevention. And last one, network planning. My favorite one, actually. So currently we are using normal standard, I would say, performance data, location data, geographical data, etc., in order to plan our network as best as possible, as the way that we actually can, because sometimes you just cannot get a license for base station and that's it. But on the other side, there is such a huge hype of distributed network architecture, which I'm totally in favor of. Removing actually offloading the central, the core network to as much as possible to the edges, shifting the caching to the edges, etc., providing lower latency due to this distributed architecture, etc. So by this use case, by collecting proper data from the network, this prediction of the load on certain domains in the network can be much better, I would say, than doing it standard way. Later on, I'll talk about some advantages and disadvantages, but I'm pretty sure with some right level of control, this can be a really important and really successful use case. All of those use cases currently and in the near future are relying on human, and not only developers, etc., but the decision makers. And therefore, it can be quite complex in every organization to make any decision, in open loop mode. So therefore, I think that the value of those use cases, besides optimization of the processes, besides of the making it faster, better, more precise, is also to a certain level, of course, decreasing the involvement of human in this process. And this is the actually quote that I got yesterday from one of my colleagues from Gartner, which I don't know, you can all read by yourself, but it's quite, I would say, interesting statement, saying that with AI we will be faster and avoid this people-based decision making. Cool. Now to describe a little bit about the ingredients for those use cases. And yeah, I use this cooking term, ingredients. I didn't want to use these technical terms like KPIs, metrics, etc. But more or less, it's all about these metrics that we are collecting in the network. So, first basic metric that we are collecting in a network, fault management data, pure SNMP tools. Every telco is doing this. I think everybody in any technology-based industry is doing this, collecting SNMP traps. So is this node working or not? Is this node working as good as we expected, etc.? Very, very, I would say, simple data, huge amount of data, of course, but very, very valuable in order to make the AI logic, make it more precise, more effective, and also really, I would say, structured data, so that AI logic can really digest it quite easy and create this predictiveness in the future. On top of that one, performance data. So if you look at fault management data, yeah, you know that something is working or not working, some load is higher or lower, not to go into the details, but after that you have performance data, because something can work, but it still requires some optimization, etc., etc. Huge value of information across the network, not only about signal level coverage, but also about throughput, latency, and all these micro interesting KPIs that we can extract, that we are actually extracting from the network. On top of that, we have this customer experience data. So we know more or less quite precisely experience of each and every of our subscriber, whether he has drop calls, block calls, his throughput speed, his latency, etc. Very, very valuable information to ingest into this logic. On top of that, which is another word for itself, it's CRM data. So, combined with all this technical information, if you put on top of that CRM data, like simple information about the customer, you can really, really increase the value of the algorithms or applications or use cases that I mentioned on my previous slide. And what we are still not very much adapting as an industry is this third-party data. So all the information, all the KPIs that I mentioned are, let's say, our internal. We have it in our network, in our company, etc. But what we are still, as an industry, very slow is adapting external data. Social networks. I mean, most of the social networks business cases actually relies on this data, and of course, selling this data. I'm not GDPR expert. I will not open the topic about whether it's okay, should be anonymized, etc. Of course, yeah, we should obey the law. I don't have doubts about that one. But if Google can sell their data to some other company in UK, why shouldn't we buy it and combine it with our information? I think it should really, really increase the value of any potential use case. Now, about few words about threats and traps. The thing that I mentioned earlier, A is not AI. Automation is not AI. And you will see, when vendors, startups, legacy vendors, big, new, small vendors, whatever kind of vendors, they approach you, they usually try to start the story with this automation, which is good because it really saves money, energy, efforts, etc., etc. But this is not AI. As I stated earlier, I'm 100% convinced that automation will bring me something that I expect, and this is good, make it faster, better, etc. But AI should bring me something that I really don't expect, that, to put something else on the table, something that actually human brain cannot conclude, or maybe is afraid to propose. There are several these social boundaries that we as a humans have. So what I expect from AI is a bit or radically different proposal, opinion, outcome, whatever we call it. Another threat or trap is this ultimate story about the open loop and closed loop. Let me just be brief on open loop and closed loop. Open loop is actually when you implement AI logic, and before action based on this logic is activated, executed, you need a human to click OK, to put it on a real simple way of description. And we as a humans, and actually, we've been in this business for quite some time, we are kind of more comfortable implementing open loop AI logic. Why? Because this kind of gives us some feeling of control. Yeah, now, I don't know, logic proposed me to shut down this or restart this network node or whatever, and then I click OK, and then I'm in control. Closed loop is like, zero touch maintenance. You leave everything to this AI logic. So whatever it concludes, it executes. And we are kind of not very comfortable because it leaves us in this position where we think we don't have control, which is also good, because if you implement one AI logic, another one, they might start killing each other. They might cause, problems one to each other, and therefore it makes sense, at least in the early phases of AI implementation, to deploy open loop. But again, I think ultimate goal is closed loop. Everything should be automated, and that's it. Again, creating a big risk, because once those AI logics start running by themselves, you don't touch them, maybe they will, go crazy, do some crazy things in your network or whatever you are responsible for. Another threat and trap. Yeah, I told you I'm not GDPR expert, etc. But there is a huge debate, especially in Western world, about the ethics, about the moral, about the all this, humanity of the AI. Here I just put a print screen from Elon Musk. It's like a few days old. There is really big concern about this ethics of the AI, and I'm pretty sure this will be, I would say, quite big and difficult constraint, because ethics are not something like engineering based. It's not black and white, it's not digital, it's very, very soft area, soft field. So on the other side, if we don't respect this mode, we might go in a really wrong direction. Future. And with this slide, I'll try to conclude. I mean, 100% AI is big disruptor, and it's going to grow. Not only in telco industry, it's going to grow in each and every industry, because all the implementations so far, not all, but I would say 90% of them showed that there is a value, there is potential story. It must be correctly implemented, of course, because there are some problems, like with every new technology, especially this disruptive technology as AI is. But I'm 100% sure there is no other direction. I mean, this is going to be future. If we look at 15 years ago, we created some small scripts for automation, and they are still here. I mean, not on that small scale, of course, they evolve, etc. So I think this is just a huge disruption that's actually doing the same things, helping us to execute our work in much easier or better way. And last picture from myself. I'm not sure if any one of you is Trekkie, actually, Star Trek fan, but this is the conclusion on the AI topic. It's pure Borg statement. Resistance is futile. That's it. I think that those that adapt AI in their business models will have much better position to build a business in the future. That's shortly it from my side. So I would really like to open discussion, and if you have any questions, please.
Well, thank you, Hrvoje. I think people use automation analytics and AI sort of interchangeably. And I think sometimes it's just a kind of shorthand. And I think other times it's a really alarming indication of their lack of understanding of what they are, and that analytics does not mean automatically AI. So I think that's interesting. I also think I did a lot of research a few years ago about the use of AI in Teleco's operations. And it was really interesting how high the level of anxiety was about the Borgs, if you like, taking over, forgetting completely that actually it's we humans who program the wretched things and decide what they can do and should do. And, we always have the last word. So I'm afraid we're right out of time, and I'm mindful that you have to finish promptly anyway. But thank you very much. I thought that was interesting and reassuring. And I hope you can come back in a few months at another of our events and talk further about the progress you're making and applications of AI. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Annie, and it was really nice to be here.